Before Donald Trump came into office the first time, there were many people thinking that things would get crazy. They just couldn't anticipate just how crazy things would actually be. And now in a second Trump administration, it seems like that very same scenario is playing out yet again. Except this time, Donald Trump seems to have these imperialist ambitions that he will not let go of. I don't know if he has some twisted understanding of a legacy that he is trying to leave, or if he just wants to be the next Putin. But whatever it is pretty dark. He's talked about annexing Canada, Mexico, Greenland, and now, maybe even more disturbing than that, he's talking about forcibly displacing Palestinians so he can take over Gaza. This would be a complete reversal of American foreign policy. So let's go ahead and take a look at exactly what he said, and then we will go from there.
The U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip, and we will do a job with it, too. We'll own it and be responsible for dismantling all of the dangerous unexploded bombs and other weapons on the site, level the site and get rid of the destroyed buildings, level it out, create an economic development that will supply unlimited numbers of jobs and housing for the people of the area.
We will take over Gaza and we will own it. This is a batshit insane idea. You are talking about forcibly displacing 2 million Palestinians so you can just take their land. This is not okay. This is definitely not something that Trump even talked about before he got elected. And instead of taking Trump at his word, you have people like Scott Jennings trying to run defense and saying, oh, well, that's not exactly what he meant. But dude, we just listened to exactly what he said.
That's basically what Trump is suggesting. Forcibly removing Palestinians from their land is against international law.
I think we're being a little dramatic, and we're on our jump to conclusions, Matt, here a little bit. He muses occasionally.
Taking him at his word.
He muses occasionally.
Look, Scott, and just to be clear, because you're suggesting that we are making this up or
no, I'm not suggesting anything.
It.
No, you're putting words in my mouth.
Well,
I'm saying you and I both know he muses occasionally, and he's aspirational, and he says provocative things occasionally.
I really don't want to interrupt you, but I just my own, I think I have to come to my own defense here in saying Donald Trump, with his own words, said this is what he wants to do. He wasn't musing. He was looking down at a piece of paper. I've been in a room with him, just like that, with foreign leaders, looking down at a piece of paper. He is reading a statement that was prepared for him. Those are not musings.
Well, Scott, what happened to America First?
So I think
this is the guy who was supposed to take us out of the endless wars, said he's against nation building. He railed against I am.
I know. Playing the role of Catherine tonight.
I do want Scott.
But are you for the ethnic cleansing or against it?
So Scott Jennings says, oh, well, you guys are just being dramatic, even though we heard what Donald Trump said. He said we want to take over Gaza and we're going to own it. So why does MAGA do this? It's because they're not really sure where they want to fall on the issue. They want to make sure that Donald Trump is actually serious in this idea before they take a hard stance on it. That's why they try to run defense for dear leader instead of owning up to the position. Because even Scott Jennings knows that this is a complete reversal of our foreign policy. We are not in the business of ethnic cleansing. But that is exactly what Donald Trump is proposing here. And not to mention, he is putting a target on our troops' back. This would be such a destabilizing force in the Middle East. But that is exactly what Donald Trump is suggesting. Here is Rula Jabril talking about how this would put a target on Americans' backs.
I mean, clearly it's an official foreign policy of the United States. The illegal occupation of a sovereign land, ethnic cleansing, which constitute on both counts, crimes against humanity. I mean, maybe Donald Trump doesn't remember, but July this year, the International Court of Justice actually talked about Gaza and issued an order. And in the order says that Gaza is still occupied, that occupation is illegal, that Israel needs to end the occupation both of the West Bank and in Gaza. By the way, the other piece, he said he will decide on the West Bank next week, which means we don't know next week if he will allow Israel to annex it or not. I mean, in 30 years, I've been covering foreign policy. I never seen a incoherent, lunatic proposition as such. He just put a target on every serviceman back to 9, because the region is on fire already, and he's setting the whole region further on fire.
She is exactly right. We are setting the whole region further on fire. And if you think that this isn't going to put American troops in harm's way, you are mistaken. We are not supposed to be a destabilizing force in the Middle East. But that is exactly what Donald Trump is proposing. He is talking about forcibly displacing 2 million Palestinians and illegally occupying their land. This is absolutely insane. It just goes to show that Donald Trump, like I said, he has these imperialist ambitions. I don't know what exactly is going on, but he is completely ignorant to the dynamics in the region. And Josh Rogan points that out nice and clearly.
Right, I agree with everything you said. And I think to have the President of the United States advocating for ethnic cleansing is horrendous and unprecedented and deserves its own hearing. It also, to me, reveals a deep ignorance of the situation in the Middle East on the part of the President of the United States, because the plan that he articulated doesn't match any reality in the region. It has no chance of actually happening, because none of the Arab states are going to take 2 million people, and they're not going to leave anyway, and there's no mechanism to actually get them out if they wanted to leave, which they don't. And so the whole idea is based in a fundamental misunderstanding of what's going on in the region. So we've sacrificed our moral authority as a nation for nothing, for no tangible benefit, and undermined the ceasefire and the peace deal that Trump says that he wants, undermining his own policy in the process. So it's really a triple lose, lose, lose scenario where Trump has undermined his own policy, he's undermined American standing in the world, and he's tossed 2 million people into the abyss of an ethnic cleansing plan that we should all vocally stand against.
That's right. We should stand against this. And it does undermine our negotiations in the region. Why would Hamas or any Palestinian work out some sort of ceasefire when you've got the President of the United States talking about forcibly displacing your people? How does that make any sense? If Donald Trump truly wanted peace in the region, he would be working with Israel, and we would come to some sort of agreement for a peace deal. But Donald Trump is going the exact opposite direction. He is talking about bringing absolute chaos to the region. And if you think that, I don't know what Donald Trump thinks. He thinks that people in Jordan and Egypt are just going to absorb all of these Palestinians. That just is not going to happen. And not even to mention the insane cost that this would take. We are talking about thousands upon thousands of troops that we would have to put on the ground. And Brad Colombo really points out that, that is totally antithetical to what MAGA thought that they were getting in Donald Trump. Donald Trump was supposed to be this peace candidate who wanted peace in the Middle East, who didn't want to start any more foreign wars. Let's go ahead and listen to Brad Colombo. He points that out here.
What about the American families who don't want their loved ones who serve in our service to go fight another war overseas in the Middle East that he has no clear vision for? But he talked about U.S. boots on the ground. That's a slap in the face to MAGA voters who specifically rejected the old neoconservative ideology.
Not only that,
he sounds like Liz Cheney.
I don't know if you caught it there, but Brad Colombo said he sounds like Liz Cheney up there. I mean, how many times did we hear Trump criticize Liz Cheney for being some sort of warmonger? And now he is talking about taking over the region, forcefully displacing 2 million Palestinians. For what? So he could develop some land in Gaza? I mean, it flies in the face of what Donald Trump was selling to the MAGA base. He said he was going to be a peacetime candidate, that he was going to focus on America first and make sure that Americans were looked out for. But with these new statements on Gaza, that just flies in the face of all of that. So we should definitely stand against this. This is a terrible, terrible idea. Donald Trump is proving yet again that he is a destabilizing force all around the world, and now he is willing to put American lives at risk because he wants to take over Gaza. I find it absolutely appalling, and America, the United States, should not be in the business of ethnic cleansing. So make sure you call your senator, call your House member, tell them that this idea is a terrible one, and that we as Americans are not interested in forcibly displacing a whole people from their land. Absolutely wild. So I will leave it there for now. If you guys got anything out of this video, please do remember to smash that like button and subscribe. Maybe share with a friend or two. I'd very much appreciate that. We have to build something here on the left that can adequately push back against the insanity that is currently ongoing with this authoritarian takeover. So if you do appreciate the work I do, please do remember to subscribe. If you want to see how Elon Musk is pretty much running the show at this point and Donald Trump has lost all control, go ahead and watch that video on the screen now. Otherwise, I'll see you guys on the next one.